Alright folks, gonna do something a little bit different today for my video. I'm actually gonna do a recording of the replay of a refresher flight that I just took in the Corsair here on the Virtual Carrier Task Force 58 server. So one of the things that I do in my startup before I even start the aircraft is I go ahead and crank that hydraulic handle and get everything down and locked and open, wheel chocks on, good to rock and roll. That way I can see a little better, as well as all of the cooling um, assets on the aircraft are open and ready to for engine start. So that's what we're going through now at the moment. So my flight today was a refresher flight. I haven't flown the Corsair, sadly, in quite a while, even though I, kind of run the squadron. I do a lot of the mission building and Discord management and other things. So it's been very busy, but I haven't been able to fly. So I wanted to just take the bird over to our ground range and do a little strafing practice, just to kind of get back in the swing of things. And that's what we're going to do here. Hope everybody's doing well and been enjoying the server. Those that do fly on the server, we do have a pretty good active group, and we're all doing some really cool training that they're putting out based on the missions and the feedback that I get. I try to make the missions for them to have the best experience that they can possibly have. Hopefully my recording is fairly smooth today, but so after the wings are down and locked, they get the cowl flaps and all the coolers open. That does take a moment because you do have to crank that handle a bit. Doing my checks, getting everything set up, usually getting the compass lined up and altimeter all good to go. Things that you should do. Making sure my rudder trim's where it's supposed to be. It's a good view though. Because this is a refresher flight for me. I haven't flown in a while. I forgot that unlike the P-47 bindings, I had to manually click on the mixture to put it in the right position. So now we're up and running. There's that nice sound of the engine getting up to temp as it idles down on its own, which is nice. Gets a little quieter. That seems to be a new feature that didn't do that previously. At least in the last time I've flown. It's been several weeks. It was well before, I think, 2 patches ago, so it's been a bit. Alright, wheel chocks are off. We're ready to rock and roll. I did notice that the taxi handling has improved quite a bit since the last time I've flown. That is much improved, which is good. I haven't tried it with the increasing the wind yet, because that was an issue previously where you basically couldn't do anything over the 6 mile an hour wind. Another reason I haven't been doing a whole lot of flying with DCS is I've been getting a lot of lag issues. And we'll see. Hopefully the recording stays smooth. I did a flight after this this flight that I did this recording in, and it was just a slideshow. I couldn't even get off the ground. That was after another squadron member joined. So that made it a little bit discouraging about DCS performance for me right now, at least until I get a new system. We are going to take off and head out towards the range. There we go. I usually get to around 500 feet, if not a little higher, before I reduce my flaps, just to make sure that we're stable. Our pattern altitude is 1,500 feet, so we try to get there, and then we depart on mission heading after that once regrouped. When there's a group flying, obviously. Solo, you can kind of depart the pattern whenever you're ready. our range on Guam is pretty much just north of Agana airfield, up on the cleared strip of land that is on the map, which is a pretty useful part for that because it makes it easy to spot. But there's no indication of it being an old airfield or anything like that. We haven't found any documentation on such. There's me going ahead and spawning the range, which is why I'm focusing on the menus at the moment and not flying. We've had a pretty cool little addition that I've just put on the mission here to allow our squadron to do some night ops, not fully capable of night ops. Obviously, we can't see AI aircraft in the dark, and they can see us, so that's not fair. But I do have things set up so we can depart the field in the dark and get out towards an area before the sun comes up using illumination flares to light up the runway temporarily so we can actually see what we're doing. Since Mag 3 did not actually put the approach light in this aircraft, we have no taxi or landing lights on the Corsair, which is terrible. Don't know why they would do that. I know some of them were removed, but yeah, like that hole right there on the wing, that's where that's supposed to be. We found some records that some of them were removed for weight savings, which I can't imagine that system would have cost a whole lot of weight, but not being able to see in the dark is terrible. At least, yeah. So we had to do a little DCSism and fix it, but illumination flares were a thing back then, so it's certainly possible that such a thing could have been used temporarily. Yeah, and you can see the range over there just off my left wing, that straight strip over there. I'm actually going to come at it from the sun, otherwise you won't be able to see much. Getting eyes on the range there. Reference to Agana. Agana's right behind me there. Which typically, if we're doing a big event on the range, we will use Agana to rearm and refuel as needed before going back to Arodi, which I do not do today. I do 3 runs here at the range, and then I head on home. Alright, turning in for the first run. A little bit of lag there. Hopefully it doesn't pop up in the video too bad. Like I said, this has been a constant struggle for me recently. Do typically keep the battle damage on at least our day-to-day runs so we know what we're doing. Campaign missions, that's usually turned off. Mostly because we do a lot of testing on various weapons types and seeing how much damage they do for certain things. Especially here recently, we've been testing out the submarine at depth using different fuses, which has been fun. Use that speed to get some altitude again. I know somebody's going to comment on why I'm doing this with the canopy open. Hey, it's hot in the Marianas. It does affect your drag, and if you go too fast, it will rip off. So you have to be kind of careful. But we're on the last run by, and we head on home. Moving the waggle to let the range know that I'm outbound and done. Getting weapons all safed up and turned off, and we'll head on home. about now. I think I start my descent towards 1,500 feet so I can rejoin the pattern. Making my right-hand turn to join that left-hand traffic over the harbor. If there was other traffic at the moment, but there is not. Well, there is, but there is AI traffic, which they don't really count because we just have to avoid them. Because announcing your presence does not turn them off. Now, I will admit my landing was a bit rougher than I'd hoped. Still a good landing nonetheless. It's a Navy bird. It can handle it. Got two of our AI patrols about to cross over our nose. Now that I'm on this view, I can actually see the other one. Looks like there's another couple of the AI birds on the runway. Yeah. I didn't notice them until I was crossing. Yeah. Obviously, when you're in the cockpit, you don't see some of that. I think about this time I noticed the back taxiing AI, which I get in the ground before they take off, which is nice. Getting configured for landing. Screenshot because I can. Alright. We're making our high turn and call on final. It was quite bright coming in, I will give him that. Yeah, a little bouncier than I would hope, but normally ride the flare a little bit longer. Normally I would also taxi down towards the end and turn around, but knowing there's an AI over there, I'm going to go ahead and get off the runway and let them do their thing. There's the AI on the roll. Yeah, just find an open parking spot. These are not any of the areas that aircraft will spawn, so it's helpful there. But normally I would go ahead and taxi down and get back in the same general location that I started from. Unfortunately, we did have to remove stopgap from the server because it was creating a lot of performance issues for some folks, which is unfortunate. You don't see all of our aircraft just parked out there anymore. But rather have it performing better than completely looking pretty all the time. Wheel chocks are on. Get ready to shut the engine down. Blop, blop. And finish up with the shutdown and call it a day. Another AI. Oh, the AI is coming back. Yep. The patrol that we saw in the air is coming in. Yep. So, appreciate you watching. This is a... Let's let them pass here. Sounds in DCS. Gotta love it. Yeah, so that's a good 30-minute training session out of a roadie field on the Virtual Carrier Task Force 58 server. Normally, during events when we could potentially get, anywhere from 7 to 9 pilots that are really doing a lot of cool stuff and really working together, meshing well, and it's great to see. So, thank you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. And thanks for watching.